Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Cat Crew Wednesday. And, I'm glad to be here tonight, and everybody can hear me. I hope just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me good. And hear you fine. Great. Thanks, Andy. Okay, I just want to say hello to everybody. John from Schuylkill Valley is here. Welcome, John. Dwight Curley. Dwight, welcome. Floyd Robbins is here. Welcome, Floyd. Go down to Boxcar Jerry. Jerry's here. Welcome, Jerry. Hot dog pilot Andy. Andy's here. Thanks for being here, Andy. I see Kyle Stevens is in the house. Welcome, Kyle. I can make it. Ronald Radu is here. Hey, Ronald, how you doing? Glad to see you in here. Oh, wait a minute, that's your last name. Cowboy Steve. Steve, welcome. Glad to see you in here. I started a little early tonight because I saw a lot of people in here. I was going to keep waiting everybody until 8 o'clock, so I just started a little early. Then we see, go down here further, and Dave from Crooked Rivers here. Welcome, Dave. Glad to see you in here. And then Mike from Deep Run Railroad. Hey, Mike, welcome. Glad to see you in here. I think I got everybody. Oh, Grandpa Reynolds. Welcome, Grandpa. How you doing, John? Audio is a little crappy. Well, maybe it's my voice is a little raspy still. Hey, Randall Ellison, welcome. Let's see, that's all I can see. Okay. Well, first thing I want to say is I want to thank everybody for all the well wishes. Dwight put a thing on Facebook, and I got a lot of people responding to that. I appreciate that. And then I heard people were talking about me on some of the streams, and that's well appreciated. And so I'll just give you a little rundown of what happened. Hey, Mike, Junction, welcome. So on Friday night, I went out to call my dog in. You know, I usually let him out. It was last business of the day. And I called his name, and it sounded weird to me. I said, that doesn't sound right. So I called him again, and it still didn't sound right to me. And then I went like this and wiped my face, and my hand was soaking wet, so saliva was coming out of my mouth. I've had saliva come out of my mouth when I was talking before for a long period of time. You get saliva build up in your mouth and come out. So I didn't think nothing of it. I went to bed, slept well that night, got up in the morning, and later on in the day, since there's nobody here to talk to, I didn't know. I called a friend of mine working on this automation and train stuff with the mini panel and stuff. And I talked to him for 2 hours, and he didn't say anything about not understanding me or anything. Then I called up my girlfriend, Barbara, and we did a video chat. And she says, "What's wrong with your face?" And I go, "What do you mean, what's wrong with my face?" I said, "I don't know." So I went in the bathroom, looked in the mirror. I didn't notice anything. I pinched my face on both sides. Didn't feel no numbness, nothing. So she says, your lip, this lip over here was drooping down like this or something. I don't know. Couldn't tell because my face wasn't shaved or anything, so it was hard to tell anything. But she noticed it right away. So that was late in the afternoon. And I said, I don't know. I don't feel bad. Nothing. I didn't have no symptoms or anything other than saliva coming out of my mouth. So then at 9:30 at night, the doorbell rings at my house. Well, I get very few visitors here, and doorbell ringing at 9:30 at night was really strange for me. Now, prior to that doorbell ringing, on TV, I saw an ad commercial for a show that's going to be on about this guy in Florida who was going around to these houses and shooting people in a clown uniform, in a clown suit. So they call him a clown murderer or something like that. I don't know. And it's just so funny that when my ring, the ring comes up, there's somebody at the door, and I looked at the photo, and I don't know if it was my son or my oldest boy and my ex-wife came over, but I didn't know it was them because she turned around, I think, and had a white jacket on or something. It looked like a white sheet all covered. And I said, I'm not going to answer the door. So then my dog went over there and started barking. He was jumping up at the door, so he recognized who was there. So I went over and opened the door. Then it was my ex-wife and my oldest boy. And she comes in and says, we're taking you to the hospital. And I said, oh, okay. Because my girlfriend called my ex-wife up and was concerned about it. She would have came over and got me, but she was on a camping trip with her son and grandson. So she was about 3 hours away. And so she called my ex-wife. So my ex-wife was in bed at 9:30 at night when my girlfriend called her to tell her that I should be going to the hospital. So went in the hospital, the emergency room, and there was nobody in there. I mean, no patients or nothing like that. They took me right in, and about 15 people came into my emergency room, to check me out, all this. And they said, we're just waiting to get a bed for you. We're going to meet you, look. So I go, okay. And I get up there in my room, and I'm in the room by myself. I didn't have anybody else in the room with me, so that was nice. And so they would do a bunch of tests and stuff like that. Next morning, they did a CAT scan, and told them, you can't do an MRI, but you can say an MRI. I said, can't do an MRI because I have a pacemaker. And then we found out that the newer pacemakers are compatible with MRI. So that's good to know. So, um, so I said, okay, well, we'll have to find out. You can call my heart doctor or you can call the company. Well, that day, the company that makes these pacemakers came in and they scanned my pacemaker, and she said there was no anomalies on the reading of the pacemaker that could have caused the stroke. So I said, okay, because the CAT scan showed that I had a stroke, but it was a minor stroke, okay? Because I had an area of this big, see that big, and then but the stroke activity was only that big. So that's a real small amount in that space. So, um, and I'm not a medical person, and all this stuff is new to me. It says I had acute CVA, which is a cerebrovascular accident. That's what they call it. So, what I have is a vein in my brain on the right side, this side here, yeah, this side here, that small blockage in it, and that's what caused the stroke. So they gave me all kinds of medication to take in the hospital, and some blood thinners and stuff like that, preventative stuff. So when the technician came in and she said, "Oh yeah, your pacemaker, since I got it recently, 2013, I think it was, or 2014, something like that, uh, or 2018, I think it was something. I don't know what year it was, but it was a while ago. It's second generation of this brand of pacemakers, which had Bluetooth in it, and it also is MRI compatible. But when they changed my pacemaker from the original one, there's leads that go across my chest into my heart. And those leads are inside my heart. That gives my heart the electrical juice the heart beats, and the pacemaker keeps the heart beating. So um, the leads, but they weren't, because the leads weren't changed. They weren't sure if they were compatible with an MRI, because an MRI, anything magnet on you, it will just go right out of you. So what they did was they brought me down for an X-ray, to X-ray my chest, so they could see the wires, and then the leads. They call them leads, but they're wires. And so they found out that it was compatible for MRI. So because they wanted to do an MRI, because the MRI gives you more detail of your brain than it does in a CAT scan does. The CAT scan showed that there was a stroke activity, but the MRI will give you more of the detail and possible cause of the stroke. So they were able to do an MRI. Hey, John Benicki, welcome. Hello, Darrell, how you doing? Welcome. So I then was waiting. Then Monday came, which was a holiday. So the only person that came in was one of the physical therapists came in, and she checked it and told the nurses that I don't have to be connected to the bed. So they uh, disconnected a lot of things so I could get up and walk around. So the first 2 days I was all wired up and everything, and try to roll over and stuff like that. Thank you, JD. Appreciate those likes. So, and then uh, Monday came, or Tuesday came, and we did that MRI in the morning. Then they told me I was going to get or I don't know what it was called. It was some kind of cardiac check. And the guy came in with his machine, and then he put a thing on me, and he was taking pictures of, my heart and everything. And what they were looking for is there's a valve, there's a flap in your heart, and it's a hole, and the flap opens up. And when you're born, that flap is in the open position, and nutrients from the mother go in that hole to build up whatever the nutrients do in the heart and stuff like that. But so then when you're born, that flap is closed, and it's supposed to be closed all the time. So what they did was it had an IV in my arm, but I didn't get no IVs. I just was getting pills to take, and they gave me a shot in the stomach, all the medications that they were giving me, and he put his thing in the IV, and then they injected water into that, and then that ran through, and they were looking for bubbles and stuff like that. And if the bubbles made it through, you can see the bubbles on the screen when it was putting the camera on there. And if the flap was open, they would see that. So the technician told me that he didn't see the flap being open, but the cardiac doctor had to confirm everything. So he sent the information to the cardiac doctor, and uh, that was Tuesday. Then I had to wait for the neurologist doctor to come. And she told me, and the speech therapist. So speech therapist came after my MRI. We talked for about an hour, and she said your voice sounds fine, and she made me do a couple of things with my eyes and my mouth and smile, stick my tongue out, stuff like that. And the speech therapist said I was good to go, and then all I had to do was wait for the cardiac guy to come in and do that test. He came in right after lunch around 1:30. Because I was planning to go home on Tuesday. I wanted to go home on Monday, but I couldn't. I had to wait for these other tests. Because nobody worked on it holiday except for a couple people. So everything was good, and I was waiting for after the cardiac test, and he said, okay, he's going to talk to the nurses and give everything to the cardiac doctor. And I was waiting for the neurologist to come in. Well, the neurologist wasn't in the hospital. She has an office, she works all day in the office and then comes in the hospital after 5 o'clock in the evening. So she came in around 4:30, 4:35, somewhere around there. And she talked to me for about half an hour and asked me a bunch of questions, made me do a couple of things with my eyes and stuff like that. Lift my head, do this, do that, all kinds of things. They're checking for something, things, especially after you have a particular septal defect, hole in the heart. Yeah, that's what it is. And so then she said, "You're good to go." So I will go. She said, "I'll go down to the nurses station, tell them you're ready to go. I'll write up the report that you're released." And then like 5:30 that on Tuesday night, the nurse came in, took the IV out, disconnected another thing that was on my arm that was just reading my oxygen level and stuff like that. They just put a little wire down and put it on your finger, and then it's a battery thing, and it connects to the machine, I think, over Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, I don't know, and it reads into the machine to get so I got that. Hey, Pedro, welcome. So I got released. Then I called my ex-wife up because I couldn't drive there. I couldn't drive there. And then she came and picked me up, and I got home like about 6:30 last night, or something like that. And so I'm home, and we would take a couple of medicines and some baby aspirin. And they want me to take baby aspirin uh, every day, so that's not a problem. The 81 milligrams is what they call baby aspirin. So I'm on what's called uh, atorvastatin. It's also known as Lipitor. These names I don't know. Another one is glow grill. That's also known as Plavix. That's another one I know. And then the other one, that's two. And the third one on is Am Lodi, which is also known as Norvasac. So those I'm on for about 90 days. Then in 90 days, I'm going to have blood work done. And one of them is for blood pressure. One of them is for cholesterol. My blood pressure was really high. It was like 160 something over 105 on the low end. So that was way. And then after 3 days, the blood pressure went down to 124 over 66, which is good. And I was happy, but then they came in another 4 hours later, that was back up to 164 over 90 or something. And so I said, what are you going to do? So, uh, good night, Daryl. So, uh, and then the baby aspirin is the other thing. So I take them once a day at nighttime. And then in 90 days, I probably had some blood work done to see my cholesterol was same here, Daryl. Was at 145. That was the low number. But the low number was higher than the high number. That's what they told me. They didn't give me what the high number was. But they said, when you have a stroke, they want that cholesterol number down to 70 or lower. So that medication will help that down. And blood works in with the check cholesterol. And then I got to start checking my blood pressure on a daily basis and do that. So, yeah, that's right, Pedro. Yeah. So, and it's so that's what happened, and I consider myself very lucky because all the people I know that said they had a stroke, their one side is they can't use it or they can hardly use it. They have all kinds of other problems. Hey, Sparky, welcome. And so it's like I was very lucky. And so I'm just going to start taking those medications. May change my diet. I have a book here, and I got to start reading that, see what kind of foods I should be eating and stuff like that. But they say don't eat a lot of red meat, and I hardly have any red meat anyway. Once in a while, I'll go out and have a steak, but not every day. If you do things in moderation, you'll be okay. So, uh, and you get yourself checked. Check your blood pressure, check your cholesterol. All those things lead to strokes and heart attacks and stuff like that. So, I'm not a doctor, but that's what it says that I've been reading. So um, last week, I think I said this engine, the motor died. This was what I was going to use for my point to point. So I didn't look at it. And I ordered another engine. I took the buddy board and decoder and the speaker out of this engine and put it in that one, and that was working fine. Now, it was funny when I bought that engine, brand new, and it said on the box, DCC and sound ready. Well, when I got the engine, I put it on my workbench track, turned on the DCC system, put the address of the engine number 3 in it, thinking, didn't move, couldn't get the headlights to come on, no sound. So then I addressed it as the engine number, and still nothing, no light and nothing. So I open it up, I look, I go, oh, that's a funny looking board. And it was a board with a 21 pin connector, but it was an ESU decoder. So wasn't going to mess around with an ESU decoder because all my engines are Tasami 2s. And I said, nope. So I took the decoder out of this engine and the buddy board and the scale sound speaker, and that engine I just took out the stuff and put in a new engine. So then on this engine here, this I'm showing you, this one, okay, this is the bottom weight, I think, goes on the bottom of the engine like so. I don't know if you can see that, right? And there's a screw there. Well, when I first started out with the automation, I was going to put reed switches in, and you need a magnet underneath the engine so that when the engine goes over the reed switch, it triggers, it grounds up the reed switch and tells the mini panel what to do, the code, right? Well, I glued on the magnet onto the bottom of this. Well, it was a bear to get it off for one thing. And then the screw was covered up with so much super glue that I couldn't get the screw out. So I started scraping away a little bit. This was done before I went to the hospital. So today I said, let me look at this thing. I'm just tinkering around. I'm not doing anything real physical or anything. And the other engine I got working, that's just tinkering around on the workbench, and I tested it and it runs and everything. So everything was good now. So let me look at this engine. So I finally got the screw out. And then on the bottom of this engine, let's see, camera's there. Bottom of this engine, there's 4 screws there. Well, the 4 screws allowed me to take out the motor. So I took the red wire, the black wire, hooked them up to my track, connected them there, turned on the DC system, turned on my power supply for the DC system, turned it on, turned up the volume, and the motor ran. These 2 flywheels were spinning like perfect. So, motor's fine. Don't know why it wouldn't move before, but I did notice one of the truck wires was didn't look right to me. So I'll fix that wire up. Maybe it touched some metal or something, and it got it shorted it out or something. I don't know. So I'm going to put that back in the engine and hook it up again. And now I'll be able to get this thing running again. It'll be another switcher for the yard or something. So yeah, this little screw was really in there, and so that's what I got got to work. So I was about to do that today. And on my automation, I got the track up there by the yard. I put the sensor in. This is all done before I went to the hospital. Got the sensor in, and I got the sensor in on my passenger train track. And the other two tracks don't need sensors. Those trains just run. But got the sensor in. Now, this ain't AI generated, Sparky. I don't believe in AI. I think um, that ruins everything for everybody. Because now, when you watch videos, you don't know if you're watching a real person or somebody else. And they even got little pictures of they're turning kids into the adults, like Judge Judy is some little girl. I don't know how they get away with doing that. So, so hey, Heath, welcome. Glad to see you in here. So, the other thing is, when I bought the shirt and I hooked up the Sherlock detector to the mini panel that's on the layout, got it all wired up, and the sensors and the push buttons are connected. I got 4 more push buttons to connect yet, and I got 2 mini panels under the layout that I need to do this with because you use up a lot of inputs, and you only have 30 inputs, and I have some that have multiple lines of input to make that engine do what they need to do going around the track. So, um, yes, I am. Heath, thanks for asking. No, I don't have a twin. I only have a younger brother, and he lives in Key West, Florida. So, um, I bought the Sherlock board. Then I found out that it only supports up to 8 sensors. Well, I got 2 sensors on the lower level. The subway system is going to use 6 sensors. So that's 8 sensors. So I filled up the Sherlock board. Well, I have 4 trains to run up on the 3rd level. So, talking to my buddy about this automation stuff with the mini panel, and then we said, well, maybe I need to get another Sherlock board. And no, I said, what I want to do is get some Z stuff, block detection sensors. They have these little things that have like a dwarf signal on it, and it's a sensor, and you can move them around. And when I was first talking to them a couple of weeks back, they didn't have any in stock. So last week I went on a site and they had them on stock, but they're $52 a piece. And then you still need a relay, which are like $12. So it's about $70 for one of those things. And I was thinking I'm going to need 4 of them, one for each train, right? So that's like 200 some dollars with shipping and all that. I said, that's a little pricey for that. Then we were talking about tracks, and I emailed John Parsons at Tracks. He responded back and he told me what devices work with the mini panel. Well, I 2 of them in stock. It's an MRD1. So the MRD1, and it has these wires in it, and there's a sensor there. So I'm going to put the sensors across the track, and then the MRD1s get hooked up to the mini panel. So when a track is censored, it'll do the same as a sensor does or as a reed switch does. So for the 3rd level, I put these in the right location So when a train goes through there, then I'm going to put a time delay statement in there to stop the train to get to where the stopping point is for each train up there. So I got a thing to do, see how long it takes to go from the sensor to the stopping point. Then I can set the time in there for 50 seconds, a minute, 10 seconds, I don't know, whatever it's going to be. And some will be long, times will all be different. So, so um, now buying the extra sensors, I got a bunch of reed switches. I'm going to work on them on the workbench, see if I can get them to work again, um, and stuff like that. But subway system, all I got to do is put the sensors by the end of the subway station. Because when I hit stop on a subway engine, it stops immediately. So there's no gliding to a stop with the. You see that camera moving in the bottom screen? Well, if I bring it, the camera moving. Let's see. Can I? Wait a minute. If I go back to here. There we go. This camera here is moving. Now, I sealed up a lot of the subway system before the hospital, and I think we want to do is make this one. There we go. So I sealed up a lot of the subway system. You can see this one. It's all sealed up. Now it starts the corner right here, and I put pieces in there to do that. But this camera used to move all the time every time I walk into the room because the camera is in this back corner, and these two pieces that I put there, remove it. You'll see those two pieces there block the camera now. So now, well, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, that's right, dear. Yeah, she helps me a lot. She's coming over tomorrow. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. Just showing you that what I've done with the subway system. A couple panels were right here. I took them down, put some stuff onto them. If we go over a little bit more, you'll see I had the fan up there. Um, this panel right here, it's easier to work on these two panels over here, stuff like that. And on this one, just had to put some tunnel pieces up in the corners, and then they'll be all closed. And this is all tunneled all the way down, except for over top of this subway station, which has to get done yet. So I have a lot of pieces and, to get that done. And I got to clean up this sawdust stuff, this ballast in this corner here, stuff like that. So the fans are running right now. The lights are on. They all automated. So did that. Now let me bring myself back up. I just want to explain. Oh, why this camera here? Why this camera is moving is because movement from my head is hitting the camera because it's right outside my office, above the door, in this corner here, this inside corner. Camera's up in this inside corner, and there's panels up to it in the back side, and then there's panels going down this side. So it blocks it all in. Well, that's the thing. I do have Penn Station. I have 34th Street, which is Penn Station. I got 42nd Street, and 47th and 50th Street stations on my subway system. And now that's they're fans, Sparky. They're fans, and on the fans, I glued a little thread material that I had so that it would show you that fans are working. That's what they're on there for. So you can see them going down the tunnel. And the third one down there, it's running too, but you can't see it. It's hard all the way down at the bottom. So I'm muted. Let me see. I'm muted. It doesn't say I'm muted. Maybe you muted yourself, because my mute button is black. When I hit the mute button, it goes red. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. So now, project, Miss Farmer's going to come over tomorrow. She was here for a little bit today. She had to go to therapy and stuff. But I'm working on making rocks. So we carved them out, different rocks and stuff. And then a lot of things were delivered when I was in the hospital. Now, I got these three colors of paint, and you blend these together to make a rock color. My camera's on the other monitor, that's why it's I'm not seeing, you're not seeing it. Okay, this is ebony black. That's ebony black. This is traditional burnt sienna, which is like a brown color. These are all deco art. And then this is light avocado. These from two different places. So these two colors here, the brown and the black, came from Hobby Lobby. I ordered it. I wasn't going to go in the Hobby Lobby store and look up 100 million different bottles and things. I just ordered it. And then this deco art, Amazon. And then they sent it out in the mail, and of course it bounced all around invasions, but it came today. So I was glad to see that. It's supposed to come June 4th through 7th, but it came today. So we're going to work on those rocks. And I showed you guys last time where I was going to do that wall. Let me see if I can get me. I want to get this. Okay. Up in this corner here, that's where I'm going to put the stone wall. And it'll be a lot different than that. Hobby Lobby closed on Sunday. I don't know. But the Hobby Lobby mail came. That that arrived on Tuesday. The engine arrived on Tuesday. And, the only thing I had left to be received was the avocado. Okay, Andy, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. Have a good night. We'll catch you later. So then, you see the pumps, the two pumps there not working. Pumps 2 and 4 are down. And I finally got the order from China. These are the two motors. I'll make myself bigger again. These are the two motors that I need to get the pumps working. And so they came on Sunday. These two things were delivered on Sunday. I don't know who brought them here. And John, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. Have a good night, and we'll catch you later. So these are the things I've been working on, and nothing really physical that I have to do. And this was, so I got everything that I can see. Yeah, China, right? Well, AliExpress is what I ordered those motors from. Uh, Jim DeDucco, I sent him those pump files, and he made some for his layout. And he had trouble with the motors, and he ordered some motors. And I said, Jim, where'd you get your motors from? So he sent me a link. It was on eBay. And it was the shipper, it was going to cost $50 to ship it. I said, that's nuts. I'm not spending $50 to ship just to get two of these motors. These motors cost less than $3. They might be maybe $3.20, something like that. They're not very expensive. Hey, Bob, welcome. And so I said, nah, I'll just go back to AliExpress again. And you heard me talking about AliExpress and the shipping and how it was stuck in China for like a couple of weeks in customs, and then came into United States somewhere. Didn't tell me where. Their tracking information just said it's arrived at the local airport. Well, which local airport, right? So I said, what are you gonna do? So I told you I called customs. I sent a message to Donald Trump to see what he could do. The next day, after I sent that message to Donald Trump, the package that was stuck in customs for over 17 days moved, and it was on its way. Whatever I sent Donald Trump, he must have done something, because I don't know what happened, because it wasn't moving nowhere. And it's awful ironic that after I sent him an email, boom, it started moving. And I know that's true because I do that with the post office too. I have packages coming in, and they're this sitting in a site for days for no reason. I call up, speak to the rep. They see the same thing that I'm seeing. And it's awful ironic. They say, well, we can't do anything. But the next day it moves. So there's something to when you call in and you represent yourself, and they'll do whatever they can. They might call the local station, hey guys, time to move this package along or something. I don't know what they do, because you can't call a local post office. Every time I look up the local post offices around me, it's the 1-800 number for the Postal Service, which is that's what they use. And you can't talk to the local office. Now, I've had the local office in my town call me directly to tell me what's going on, stuff like that. But I don't have a number for them. So it's always something to get going with the shipping stuff. But I have everything I need now to do the projects that I got to work on. And the track, uh, I, this well cars that corrugated. They're all hooked together, and wheels on both ends of the car. They have a wheel in the middle, and two cars share the same wheels, right? So, like five of them, and they all have containers on everything. I'm going to just put it in the yard, but I said maybe I can use them. So I took that wall down, and they were having trouble with the track coming through the tunnel here for some reason. The little pins, the little pins that hold them together are so small that if there's a dip in the track, they'll uncouple. So I put them on the track, and I put an engine behind them, and I pushed them back through the tunnel. But the track is dirty up there. It hasn't been cleaned. I cleaned all the lower track, so I didn't do anything up on the third level because I was trying to get the automation to work on the bottom level and stuff like that. So I'm going to clean the upper tracks to get them trains running. So I had to clean the track and see when I bring that train through there with the cars on it and see how they ride through. And maybe I just have to put a shim in the track or something. So I can access this now without that wall there. And behind that is my helix. Inside the helix, I then can access that track in the back too. So when I backed it up, the engine was hesitating and jerking a little bit, and none of the cars uncoupled, and none of the cars derailed. So if they work, to one of those trains that go all the way around, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore. So I'll put it on the well car train that that's all my 3D printer ones on there. And I can use those 3D printer ones because they're only 40 footers with couplers on both ends. I can use them on some of the smaller trains that run down in the lower levels, stuff like that. So that's what I got to do is clean that track up there and just run the track cleaning car around there with some contact and stuff like that. So it's always something. Let me see. Did I miss anybody coming in? No. No. Thank you, Darryl. Yeah. So, I put up 6 of these cameras. I think it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, these are 6 cameras, and um, they're all wired cameras, not Wi-Fi. They're all wired. 4 of them are PoE, so I don't need a plug to plug them in. So, what's 3 feet, Dave? Working on my bridge install. Oh, 3 feet long bridge. Okay. Looking forward to seeing that, Dave. So these cameras work really nice. The software lets me see all the 6 cameras at the same time. What's huge? Oh, the length of this bridge, yeah. Oh, right. John, Jim Tedesco, he made a bracket, and I 3D printed the brackets. Uh, that was holding up a small shelf on my table behind me for that Viper printer. and I used them on the layout. Uh, let's see, this here view, go down to here, that shelf is held up by 3D printed brackets. So I 3D print brackets. I don't buy them anymore because they're strong and the holes in there, and the cross piece has holes so you can put the screw through to get to the mount to mount it and everything. So they're pretty good. 12 inches deep. Oh, the brackets that Jim made, John will hold them no problem. And Jim, he put his second level up all with his 3D printed brackets. But I think his is 20 inches deep. So we're still saying hello to everybody. Yeah, people in here. Appreciate everybody coming in. So it's just been it's been a lot of fun doing this and getting this stuff to work together. And this automation project is a real nice thing. Just push a button and the train runs. So before the show, I got the engine set up on the track, and in front of the crane car was sitting there, and I hooked it up to the crane car, and I go, oh good, I'm going to try running this before the show. Well, I'm pushing the button, and nothing's going on. So I look under the layout, check the wires, and I have these connectors with the orange lever on them. You put the wire in there, close it. Sometimes maybe they didn't make contact. I took them off and just twisted the wires together for the push button, and nothing. What the heck's going on? I push a button, look at the mini panel, no light coming on. Nah, something's wrong. Then I remember I didn't put the code in the mini panel for that train yet. So I have to do that next. Go in the mini panel and enter all the lines of code for the mini panel. So it's a, I think that one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inputs worth of code to enter for that one to go back and forth and stop at each end. So we'll see how. Not sure anyone can squeeze more layout in this space. You know, it was interesting building this. I just wish that when I put the first one in, I didn't make it so wide. But the reason I made it so wide, hey Mike, welcome. Keep it on the tracks. I used the Woodland Scenics kit, and that required a 10x4 to put that track plan on that layout. So I did that because it's hard to reach over 4 feet to get to the back. That's what I have the creeper for. And I have one of those long arms with a thing on it, and in the end you can connect. So I had to pick wish I could show you the A-frame house on here, but I have a camera pointing in that direction. So I always wanted to put a light in there, and now I got a light in there, so when the lights come on, the A-frame is lit up. It's on the mountain there, and you can't see it from these cameras. Maybe I'll get another camera one day and point it that direction so you can see that from another perspective. So these IP cameras are really cool, and I could have another one for this cluster here. So let me get back to me. So you can see my mouse, but this car here is my vacuum cleaning car, and the coupler came off, so I fixed that. It's something I have to work on. It's just a little to do. You don't need couplers for both ends because then you know put it into the car. I put it on the front of an engine and let it go back up the track and stuff. It works really good. And I got a couple other cars on my desk here that I needed painting the wheels. And thank you, Mike. Yeah, I'm feeling great. A lot better than I did when I first got into the hospital. That's for sure. I didn't really feel bad though, even though I had a stroke. Mike, I didn't feel bad. I still felt good. So, and I'm looking around me and all the other people in the rooms, you know, the nurses were going in for this one lady drew across the hall from me. It seemed like it was every 5 minutes they're going in there, going in there, going in there. You know, they came into my room and looked like they forgot about me sometimes. Everybody was real nice there. They took care of me. And also, I was worried about the food. What the hell am I going to eat? I'm going to have people bring me in something to eat. But the food was good. I was very surprised. So I had good meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Sometimes I eat a hot lunch instead of regular, just a sandwich. I had a hot lunch and stuff like that. So the food was really good. And that's hard to say about being in the hospital. So thanks, John. Appreciate that. Yeah, so just tinkering around with little things. Tomorrow, I might get those two fuel pumps done. Maybe I'll code up the mini panel. All the stuff we have to do in the layout. It's not a lot of physical stuff anymore. It's a lot of this details, you know, like the rocks, details. It's just put pink foam and painting it. So that's not really going to be, you know. But the doctor told me that I should do more exercise, like on a treadmill, do a little weights, just a little bit, not a lot. That's right there. So, because when my son was in the hospital for his liver transplant down at the University of Penn in Philadelphia, he didn't like anything. So my wife, who was staying down there with him, uh, she'd go out and buy something and bring it in, you know. So that's what I was expecting. Now, dessert there, Mike. I didn't want dessert. I just wanted nutrient food to eat. I heard the lady over in the other room, how is your ice cream? How's your ice cream? Yeah, something like that. I haven't had ice cream because I usually have an ice cream cone at nighttime here, like that. So, okay, Sparky, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. Have a good night, and we'll catch you later. Thomas is a terrible cook, or the food actually was good. Who knows? Now, I'd say it was better than what I eat. I just said it was good enough for when I was in the hospital. Okay. I wouldn't say, let's go to the hospital to go out to dinner. Okay. Yeah, well, you got to take care of yourself first, Darryl. That's what you got to do. So, yeah, I was wondering if it was Tuesday when I was there getting those tests, and I said, when's the neurologist company? Oh, speaking of neurologists, they called today to make an appointment for afterwards, right? My appointment is for December 2nd, 2025 at noon. We're in what month? May? She said, you're on the cancellation list. So if somebody cancels, then I'll get in early. So, so um, I couldn't believe that. But so I wrote it down, put it on my calendar, and then if they call me, I can go in and see the neurologist. But nothing's going to happen until 90 days after the medications I've been taking, and then they want to see what's going on. So they might want to do another CAT scan to see what kind of activity is in the brain, or another MRI. They can do an MRI. So no surgery. Didn't need no surgery at all, Mike. Just medication. All I had was my lip was drooped, and the saliva from your mouth, when your lip is drooped, will come out, and it was dripping out. I just go like this to wipe my face, and my hand was soaking wet. So, um, so if you ever see your mouth drooping, that's a sign of a stroke. So it's time to go in. Herbal medicine. Yeah. I'm going to see what the doctors give me, and we'll try that and see what happens. If the numbers go down, then we know we're going to try. Well, it's called old age, Randall. When you get older, things happen. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. My heart doctor put me on blood pressure medicine and medicine for uh, cholesterol, but it ran out. And then coverage, I couldn't go see the heart doctor. It cost too much money to go there every time, and never renewed the prescriptions. So the hospital gave me the prescriptions. I went to the pharmacy today, and they said, what kind of health coverage you have? I have Medicare, parts A and B. I said, no C. But he said, oh, this one medication is $121. I said, well, that's no problem, no worry. She says, do you want me to put in for a discount card? I said, oh, okay, go ahead. So I got three medications, and the bottle of Bear 81 milligram aspirin, right? And so she said, oh, well, it's going to take a few minutes. We'll call your name up. So I call your name up. Hey, James, welcome. So they call a couple of people up before me, then they call my name. I went to the front of the line, and I go back and get in front of people, but they want me there. So she goes, here it is, blah, blah, blah. And I swipe my card and said, okay. Remember, I said, well, almost 121. And that didn't count the other two medications plus the aspirin. Came to $68 for all three in the aspirin. So So that's, I said, the discount was pretty good. So I said, okay. I was glad to see that. So, yeah, the CVS pharmacy that I use down the road from me, it just, they do a lot of things for people. So, you were in AFib today. Yeah. That's not good. You go to the hospital or you just resting at home? Well, Daryl, what's that number? Um, I went to a doctor and they checked it and I had blood work done and mine was at 4. I can't remember what that level was called um, for prostate. And it was, that's number is, they like it below 4, but 4 is okay. And I got to go appointment to see them again too sometime. Get some more blood work done and check out that. But nobody in my family ever had any cancer or anything like that. So everybody died of old age. I'll see a heart specialist on Monday. Maybe you'll need a pacemaker, James. PSA 6.3. Wow. And mine was 4.0. Yeah, that's what it was. PSA. Yeah, 4.0. Mine was. So I've had a couple of colonoscopies in the past. One time I had one palate that I worry about, and then they removed it. That was it. The other times have been clean. So yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, Ronald, that's good. You're on the list for surgery. Yeah, yeah, that's what happens. So you're a prayer there, James. The only problems I do seem to be high blood pressure and everything else is a mess. Yeah. Oh, I told you guys what my blood pressure was 160 plus over 103 or 105. And the numbers just kept on going up and up and up. But they said they didn't want to give me any blood pressure medicine to reduce it. They wanted to keep it up high because of the MRI. They wanted me to take the MRI first. The day after I took the MRI, then they gave me a blood pressure medicine to reduce the blood pressure. So then I have to take them tonight when I go before I go to bed. I'll take all the medicines. Take that. So low blood pressure sometimes. Yeah. Well, my blood pressure came up from driving 91 miles to work. All the idiots on the road. Looks like they never knew how to drive their whole entire life. It was frustrating, to say the least. But I don't do that anymore. So the medication will hopefully get the numbers down, and then less chance of having another stroke with that. So, okay, people. Well, uh, Heath is going live soon. I've been on for over an hour. I'd like to thank everybody for coming in. I appreciate every one of you. Also, again, I want to say thank you for all the kind wishes and get better notes that you all put on Dwight Curley's Facebook page, and all you guys talking about me on your shows. Everything was appreciated. I could have watched some of the YouTube shows on my phone when I was in the hospital, but I didn't have my charger with me. When I left, I just picked up my keys and my wallet and I left. I didn't bring anything with me. Then my son came over and he got my charger, but that was on Tuesday. So I was already, so it was kind of hard to keep the phone on for important things. So I want to again say thank you everybody for stopping in, and we'll catch you all again soon. And everybody stay well and stay safe out there. And everybody have a good night and enjoy the rest of your week. And we'll see you all again soon. Okay, now I'm going to end the stream and we'll catch you all later. My internet is down. Oh, sorry to hear that, Jackie. Storms. We'll catch you later. Thanks again for stopping in. We'll catch you all soon. Take care.